Hey there, folks. What's good? Welcome back. Smite's here. Console League, Xbox action. My name's Tom. That's going to be Taco. And we've got an exciting match to round out the afternoon.
The moment we've pretty much all been waiting for is to finally get back into the heart of some Smite action, and we're going to be starting things off with console over here, but this time around it's going to be North American action.
Yeah, we started off watching some of the Europeans go at it. Rival still kind of dancing, but we've got Elevate taking on Armada this afternoon on the North American side of things. Two exciting teams to watch go head-to-head.
And it's very significant differences, I would say, just from looking at the European teams alone. I mean, the fact that Rival even had a match taken off of them is already miles ahead of where we were, I would say, this time a year ago. So really excited to see if we can expect to see the same from North America.
Right. Love to see the competition step up. Love to see all these teams go head-to-head. Love to see the P's and B's. And this is what we're seeing right now. As we said, Astral beat up Flashpoint nice and easy offline. So did Retribution, taking it to Cyclone. So now we're celebrating Rival, although they did have some competition. Armada and Elevate. Should be interesting watching these guys go head-to-head. Armada is a strong team, but Elevate bringing back Mr. White. Should be fun watching these teams go together.
Both sides that just have such prominent members from the community that have been around for quite some time. I mean, you mentioned Mr. White. That's just one. I think when everybody thinks of Elevate, probably one of the first names that pops up in your head, DoctorL. That guy has been a marker and a key figure for this team time and time again, constantly managing to solidify strong players onto the roster to always make them a contender for that top 2 selection.
You know, across the way, DoctorL is in the jungle. We've got uLunar, which I think might be Lunatic. Not quite sure on that one, but one of the newer names to see, maybe an older face. I'm looking in that middle lane. You've got Panda mid on the side of Elevate, and then MitchTeep on the other side. This one, I think, is an even matchup, and for my money, although I still think it's a jungler-driven league, Taco, I think the mid laners have been really important.
MitchTeep has always felt like a little bit of a controversial player, though, in terms of his standing compared to some of the other players in North America. I know that the scene likes to have its giggles from time to time, but at a certain point, you have to eventually introduce an air of respect for players. I think that Teep is someone who has definitely earned enough respect from the other members of North America Xbox side of things that they aren't necessarily going to over-aggress into him, but I think that one of Teep's drawbacks have always been a little bit more of a limited god pool. I think that some teams, if they've done their homework at least for Armada, or excuse me, from Elevate, then they're going to be looking to really try and just focus out Teep there.
Yeah, homie gets it done for sure. Elevate right now going to be banning out Baron. Now, for my looks, Baron has been a very successful solo laner, but seeing him next to the Freya band could just be two strong characters, or be what you were talking about, looking directly at Teep. Armada airing on the side of the physical carries, taking care of Odin and the Naja, who's just as nasty as always. First pick, Chernobog for Armada, answered very quickly by Artemis.
And I actually think that these bans initially are pretty interesting from both teams, because there's one ban specifically towards eliminating that power spike aspect, and then another that's just annoying control. Baron has so much control, same thing for the Odin, but you never want to try and deal with Freya and Naja damage.
Now, Khepri's picked here, and you know, I've been talking to a number of Khepri fans out there, and slowly but surely the bug has kind of gotten back into the meta, but this high up seems very early for Khepri to be drafted.
It feels a little bit more so like Elevate not really wanting to jump the gun on things. They wanted to see, I think, the first initial picks from Armada before deciding which direction they really want to take their draft in. By selecting Artemis, you give her such a safe pairing alongside of that Khepri. There's going to be decent amounts of lane clear there that you shouldn't really be getting too out-pressured by the Chernobog Athena. You're at least going to be able to keep those creeps from hitting the tower line and losing that little bit of gold.
Chernobog has trouble dealing with Artemis, and honestly, I think Chernobog has trouble dealing with Daji as well. I don't think it's as cut and dry, but I think that Daji does a good job of really controlling it with the ultimate, being able to jump on top. Do you agree? Because that's not really a standard
It can go either way. That's the problem with Chernobog, because it all depends on, are you aggressing into him after he's coming down from Living Nightmare, where he's got those damage mitigations and the movement speed, or are you just trying to gank him non-stop in the lane? And I'm hoping that for DoctorL, this Daji pick is a alluding to him wanting to spend a little bit more time in that mid dual lane side of things, just because Daji is best, I think, against mid laners who do not have those CC immune ultimates. Not having a crowd control immune ultimate is one of the big things that, or one of the big hindrances for Zeus.
And that's why I love the Agni pickup, going to push that even further. Second round bans coming out, no Raijin, no Giannis, and no junglers from Elevate. So Nemesis will be the jungle of choice for Armada, and they're going to round things out with an Osiris. Very exciting to see this fighter back in the meta. For me, because I don't have to play against him. We'll see what happens on the other side.
I really like the Osiris specifically for the Daji also, because whenever those team fights start breaking out, as soon as he throws up the tether, it's going to be real difficult for Daji to have the same amount of freedom maneuvering through that back line. I'd expect the Osiris' job here is just going to be to try and stay on top of the Daji, really look to prevent the Artemis from getting off any of that free casting in the back line. Athena's primary focus probably going to be to just try and keep the Khepri taunted off cooldown.
Armada's got a late game team. Osiris will be able to help out in the early phases, but definitely a late game oriented team. Elevate on the other side, kind of more mid to late game, but who's going to win, Mixer Chat? Let us know. Armada or Elevate, game one of the best of three. We're getting in right about now.
As far as control is concerned, I would probably have to favor Elevate just a little bit more so here because of that Agni pickup for Panda mid. Armada's mentality with their draft feels a little bit more damage-oriented. It doesn't seem as though they're really looking to be the counter-aggressors. They want to start the fight and end it all in one go. And there's not really a whole lot of wiggle room for messing that up, which is something that Zirxy, I think, is going to have to be the most careful of as the Athena, who's probably going to be put into the spotlight for that initial aggressing role.
So we've seen a number of players step away from the blessing, most notably I think Hercules starting tier 2 boots last game, but here in a new set, everybody has their blessings except for the mid laners. So the book rush here is really interesting. The stacks are really important on Book of Thoth now, so I think that makes sense as far as Teep going in that direction. But Panda mid, tier 2 Bancroft, no mage's blessing. Why do you think we see the rush there?
It's just the Agni. Agni works really well with the Bancroft's rush, and it's just so much damage. That's going to be the key part here that I really want to keep an eye on for Panda mid, is that, sure, you take away a little bit of that survivability aspect because you're not going to have as many pots coming straight out of base. You spend 10, 30 gold just to pick up this Bancroft's T2 in the first place. So he's really just got to worry about making sure that he can fully finish farming that gold efficiently. And I also said 1030 gold, but you know, I'm a little bit fried in the brain for a second there. Got a little ahead of myself. That's actually going to be when he goes to complete the item. Right. He's going to need that amount in order to finish things off.
Yeah, it's about the 1400 page or mark right there. But Teep hitting level 2 before Panda mid, unable to land the chain lightning on there. Otherwise, we might have seen an early kill. Jungler shows up, so that's not going to be on the docket today. Dual lane action seems to be pretty standard, but watch this flank coming out from uLunar. He's going to show up on the top side, look directly for DoctorL. He misses the basic, finds the slow. There's some damage, but MitchTeep not quite there yet. That will be devastating in a couple of levels.
Still a big win there, though, if you're uLunar and MitchTeep, just because they're constantly keeping Panda mid underneath that tower, not giving him any chances to try and push up whatsoever, which is exactly what you need to do against an Agni trying to be so greedy with this Bancroft's rush.
Here's the early Osiris we were talking about here, Taco. Ryan Jarman just bringing the fight directly to Nexamiss. Nexamiss gets the transformation. Jarman still willing to fight, and he dodges out the dash. So that's a nice look for the Osiris player.
Could have been deadly there for Jarman had he been caught up in that dash from Nexamiss, but since he was able to evade it, hi-rez, though, can't say the same for you, pal. He's going to end up being the first blood there for Fatal Ghost.
First kill go in the direction of Armada. Certainly a great look when you get your hunter with the first kill on the map. I mean, what else can you ask for? It might be this, the cut down of the jungler just as early. Where's the detonate? Right there! Hits the trucker horn, and down goes DoctorL.
Almost got Panda mid in the process just because of the fact that DoctorL ran into the tower trying to get away. IAmTheHamster, though, trying to help punish uLunar, but it seems as though he's already gotten away. Nexamiss just can't keep up. He's got the speed buff.
Even if uLunar died right there, Taco, I'd be screaming worse from the top of Mount Elevate, but he gets away scot-free thanks to the double dash from Nemesis, one of the more safe characters when it comes to these invades.
It's not every day you get to see this much pressure all around, but DoctorL looking to make up for that first blood experience.
Oof.
Zirxy seems to be the target of choice, but that Suppress the Insolent won't connect. DoctorL has to expend the blink just to catch up.
Yeah, that's going to be a dead Athena. Nice job from Elevate to be able to answer back, but they're already down over 1,000 gold right now. Armada picking up the first blood, the secondary kill, and perhaps most importantly, the speed buff invade after the fact. So nice start coming out here for the blue team.
Zirxy should have never been allowed to get that far, though.
Yeah.
And losing the blink, while it might seem fairly minuscule this early on, and sure, you can probably get away with it, especially since he already died, so he's looking to make up for some of that lost gold and experience. It's just that you want to typically have that constant threat of being the blink dodgy into the side lanes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's going to keep Armada from being able to push up past that halfway mark, because you just never really know where that dodgy is coming from.
I mean, dodgy, blink on dodgy is, it's, when I look at tier, I always call blink his ultimate, right? And on dodgy, it's kind of half and half, because her ultimate doesn't really feed into what she does as a character. When you're looking for that dodgy, blink, hot hands, scissor combo, right? Blink feeds in there right well. So the combo and the gank is really about the active.
Just look at this man fight over here in solo lane. This is exactly what you'd expect, by the way, between Ryan, Jarman, and Nexamiss. Both of these solo laners have always loved just trying to bring it to the other. Great ultimate force out there from Jarman, but trick is, can he stay alive through it? Gonna have to ult away, use that Lord of the Afterlife to escape.
Luna's in some trouble, but looking just to deal it anyway. Ultimate's popped. The Aegis not gonna be enough for MitchTeep there. Honey's on his way out. Help from Fatal goes, and he dashes forward. There's the dash to find the slow on Mr. White. Oscar trying to find an exit. Great taunt! Great kill! Fatal Ghost puts down Mr. White.
The hamster's got to be careful. Can't afford to get caught up in that crystallized curse, a vicious barrage, similar to what we just saw Mr. White fall victim to. It's the root and the damage. Every 3 auto attacks that's connected, it's another little tick of additional damage from Fatal Ghost. It's just one of the benefits of being Chernobog in that passive.
Oh, are they going to get him? Oh, no. I am the hamster right there. I think we've all felt that way in our own games at home, where you're just backing, maybe someplace dangerous, but he's on his tower. And then you hear or you see that, like, dash coming for you, and you're like, oh, no. I'm at base.
Sometimes you just have to commit, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know it's coming, but you've got to see if you can get that back off anyway. And I definitely respect risking it for the biscuit here, but DoctorL is probably already under so much pressure. We haven't really had a chance to touch on this because it's been so much action so quickly, but dual lane is kind of running wild right now for Armada, and if Elevate aren't careful and starting to get things back under tow, then this could very well just end up be Armada simply strong-arming match 1 away from them off the back of their dual lane blowing up.
Which is why I love what Elevate are doing right here. As a unit, they're making sure to grab these oracles. Now, Fatal Ghost kind of put that to a stop, but Elevate have the right mindset. All right. Fatal Ghost, he's 2 levels our dual lane senior. We've got to watch out for him. That's going to translate into the objective. We got to watch out for that. So more attention being paid there is nice.
I'm looking at Mr. White here the whole way through. Speaking of which, uLunar going to do a nice little evade there from IAmTheHamster's route. But Mr. White, when you are 1.5, 2 levels behind a Chernobog, the problem is, because of Living Nightmare, he can just be there any moment, any second, and it's very hard to react to at times. So if this Artemis goes even the slightest bit out of position or decides to push up just a little bit too far in that lane, who's to say that Fatal Ghost doesn't just ult right over there and look to decimate him with his advantage?
For me, really, if I'm Elevate, the way I'm looking to counteract this situation is Armada doing whatever the hell they want in the enemy jungle, is really try to take the eyes off of the left side. DoctorL into the ultimate, chases out the beats from MitchTeep, and here comes Athena. The slam down is going to hit nobody. DoctorL surrounded by blue jerseys. Going to try and get out of there. Slow down, put down, Fatal Ghost, 300, oh block, bang bang. Mr. White does answer back, but too little, too late is what I say. And Armada even get another one.
You thought that Jarman was going to back off, and then he just fully commits. I love it. Takes a tower shot that finds the kill, and Mr. White, who's already been suffering as a behind Artemis, he gets one little positive for a second there of finishing off a kill, only to be killed shortly after. And that's going to be a drawback because now not only does Jarman get the bonus pretty much bounty from Mr. White getting a kill, but he just doesn't get the time to farm anymore.
It's very true. It's very true. I will say that I think Mr. White getting that kill is very important because of the lack of Gold Fury at this moment, right? 8 minutes in with a Chernobog and a Zeus, and even the Nemesis, right? This is a composition that can absolutely grab the Gold Fury, but you need everybody there. So even though Mr. White did trade out Taco, I think that kill was important.
But I really like the way that Armada positioned themselves during that last engagement. You saw everybody kind of throw all attention towards DoctorL when he was up in that powwow ultimate.
Sure.
But as soon as he came down, where was the rest of Elevate? They were being choke pointed in between their T1 and T2 towers. They couldn't afford to try and back up their Daji because the second that they started moving forward, you just got met with MitchTeep throwing out the Chain Lightning, and then that forces IAmTheHamster to use his revive on himself, and now we see it one more time. So we are trying to bring it home.
Yeah, uLunar just going to be taken care of right there. That's the first time I've seen Elevate really, how you say, take care of the family, right? Repeated invades from Armada just over and over again, and Elevate just kind of showing up to either wave at them or die themselves. This time, Elevate timed it out, made sure they were there for the spawn of the buff, and took care of uLunar.
And now, ideally, if you're in uLunar's position, you don't want to end up dying there, but just constantly posing a threat, sometimes, even when you are the casualty, it's still good just to keep that in the back of your opponent's mind, because that will constantly leave them trying to play on the defensive, and when your team is forced to just be so reactive all the time, then they might not be able to utilize their crowd control nearly as well during some of those team fights.
I'm also of the mentality, Taco, that make me do it. Right? If I'm invading you over and over again, make me stop. And I'm going to go to the nth degree, and if you kill me, then I'll take a note. But until that moment, nah. I want to see you've got a 2,000 gold lead. I want to see that invade repeatedly.
Not too often you'll get a chance to see that, by the way. Speaking of which, IAmTheHamster one more time going to get forced out of this Khepri ultimate just for himself, and Nexamiss probably going to end up getting solo. No, he will get solo by Ryan Jarman. It doesn't even matter if DoctorL shows up. He's level 7. He can get the hands too.
Yeah, DoctorL 5 levels, the solo laner's junior right now. Ryan Jarman, top dog in this game. Looking cute, feeling cute right here. Taco, I've been waiting for it, man. I'll be honest. Ryan Jarman, from the beginning of the console scene, was one of these guys that would put the extra effort in, streaming the unstreamed games, trying to do some commentary himself. I keep telling him, make some videos, because this is a guy that you want to follow on social media during the LAN events. He puts out good analysis. He knows what he's talking about. And you know what? It's just a matter of time, or it was just a matter of time, for his mentality to really, or for his mechanics to reach the same level of mentality. And now I think he's going to be one of the scarier guys around.
And for those of you that, we can't stress this enough, because Jarman, Armada in general, he's kind of the one who spearheaded this team project to begin with. And as the captain, I think he's really trying to send a message home to Elevate, a team that's fairly well established in the North American Xbox scene. And now they are just dismantling Elevate piece by piece, pulling the Gold Fury. This is just the first match of a best-of-3 set.
That one's going to go Armada's way nice and easy. Hamster did show up. Nice try, buddy, but everybody will walk away feeling good on Armada's side.
They're just too starved to farm to really try and truly contest there. And so I don't fault Elevate for not jumping into the Gold Fury pit. I think if they try to engage right now, they most likely end up getting wiped and watching the Gold Fury go in Armada's favor. It's so difficult to work around that Zeus. The space control is incredible.
That's the thing. We always talk about objective control with respects to how well can character A kill the objective, right? We say characters like Isis, even Anubis, who I'm going to bring up even though nobody else wants to, have really good objective control because they just nuke it, right? Well, Zeus, sure, he does good damage, but you don't want to mess with the Gold Fury or the Fire Giant around him because he'll just kill you. He drops the ultimate, and you go in trying to steal it, and then you've got 3 stacks, and you're dead.
Goodbye, Mr. White. One slice and dice is going to do it. He's still trying to box it out, and I respect the effort, but it's just not going to be enough this time around. Fatal Ghost just completely shoving Mr. White between a rock and a hard place, knowing that uLunar had him on the backside.
Yeah, choose your destiny. Fatal Ghost might have been the wrong destiny, in all honesty, but, you know, I'm not going to fault the player for dying to the wrong player.
I do like that Mr. White chose not to use his beads there, recognizing that he was far gone dead. There's no chance that the Khepri is going to get anywhere near him. And IAmTheHamster, actually hold that thought, DoctorL won't be able to get away this time around. Already had his escape canceled out.
Even got his damage really cut out. Honey's going to come down here on top of uLunar. They might have to let that one go, and they will.
But look who's in the speed buff. It's Ryan Jarman. Even if DoctorL decides to come for it, he's going to end up dying.
Yeah, Ryan Jarman just has no care in the world. Going to play it safe till he drops to 2, and he drops the jungler. Speed buff, Ryan Jarman's here. And this is, Jarman's at the point right now, level 15, where he goes, I'm going to invade PS, Mr. White, dead one more time. If Ghost has his shots, but he doesn't. Oh my, there it is. All right, buddy.
He could have taken the tower with all of those missed autos even, but went the extra mile for it. And, Elevate, they are just losing all across the board right now. Ryan Jarman, full control of solo side jungle. DoctorL, nowhere left to turn, essentially. He's losing his back harpies, he's losing his speed buff, the blue buff, his T1 and duo. It just feels like this Daji pick, for how strong it can make teamfight engagements, it is just not working out for the early game.
Well, really, I think what we have is a classic example of the difference of what happens on paper versus what happens in practice, is watching Armada draft this team, and they go, all right, Ryan, you're going to have pressure on the right side because you're Osiris, and then all of us, the rest of us, we're late game, we'll see you later. But Elevate kind of slipped in the mid and let MitchTeep get off to a start and Fatal Ghost get off to a start that they weren't supposed to. And because of that, Armada had pressure where they expected and also where they didn't expect. And so it all just came crumbling down.
It really is such a heavy trickle-down effect, and it's incredible when you think about just how punishing one simple out-of-position mistake at the 4-minute mark for your first buff respawn cycle can be. And I think that seems to be the biggest crime factor here for Elevate, is that dual lane gets choked out of their respawns. They are just invaded off cooldown over there on red buff and purple buff and the like, and so you know that there's pressure happening over there. Well, that eventually starts to transition over towards solo and mid a little bit more, because Zirxy doesn't have to stick around in dual lane. He knows Fatal Ghost has that on lock. He can afford to just put his pressure elsewhere, like what we're seeing him right now, hugging the T2 tower line of Elevate in mid.
Yeah, this is absolutely Armada's game right now. They're in the driver's seat, to put it lightly. Teep coming through. DoctorL just barely alive. Down comes the Athena. Down goes DoctorL. uLunar with a nice little tower dive right there. P.S. Fatal Ghost not only took care of the tower, he took care of the teammate, he took care of half of the tier 2. MitchTeep taking care of Hamster, and Elevate might have to listen to Drake's take care after this one, because it's going to leave him a little heartbroken, Taco.
Well, Lord knows that IAmTheHamster could use some help right now, and I completely understand. He didn't even get a chance to try and use the revive there, because the taunt from Zirxy's just lasted long enough for the burst damage. That's like about 2 seconds worth of burst damage, by the way, guys. They're just so far ahead right now. The main comeback potential that I'm seeing for Elevate is to just pray those T2s come up clutch.
Yeah, they got to hope for that one. They also got to kind of just stretch this one out, right? After this objective, which should go to Armada, it'll be a 10,000 gold gap, and then it's Elevate's job to sit on their hands and try to, you know, reach 6 slots. It's going to be tough. Zirxy drops down, but a little bit of help from his friends. And, I mean, the oldest question in Smite analysis, hey, Taco, would you trade your support? Oh, that changes things. Teep also gets a kill.
No, this is great. This is exactly what they needed to happen. Elevate, DoctorL not only finds a kill onto Teep, but they're still pushing into the jungle. The buffs are respawning.
So what do they get here? They get some buffs. They get a tier 1 on the left side, maybe?
2 kills. Doubt they can take the T2. Even with 4 members there, it's just a little bit too much for them to handle right now.
Yeah.
Just look at Ryan Jarman. He's actually waiting for DoctorL. No one from Elevate seems to realize that the Osiris is here, but they're about to notice in a second because they're actually taking him down pretty handedly.
4-on-1 does have the thorns available. Chernobog can show up if he wants to. B is used by Mr. White to avoid some of the stun mechanic. And here comes help from Athena as well. Not 1 global, but 2 globals. And Nexamiss in trouble. Pop, pop. Fatal Ghost makes it happen. Lucky number 13 for Armada as they put down the punishment. And Elevate now trying to defend a tier 2, trying to decide which one to defend on top.
And that's exactly what I was concerned about for Elevate. They're looking for the retreat, and they know they've got to get out, which is why I didn't believe that they could go for the T1 because of the Chernobog and Athena. That cutoff, though, from Jarman to buy his team enough time for those respawns to happen that they could all just ult forward and look for the counter shove in. Elevate just having a really hard time, I think, battling around these Chernobog ultimates and Zirxy's rotations as well as the taunts.
Hamster, I am the dead one. Does revive himself, but not for long. 7 kills without a death for the Hunter on the side of Armada. uLunar trying to go hard here. He's 4 levels above his direct opposition. Off screen, Jarman gets a kill on Mr. White. On screen, uLunar chasing down and getting the kill onto Mr. L. Taking his degree away right there. And Elevate with 4 players down. What's that smell like? Fire Giant.
And pretty much no one to try and contest this. Nexamiss, if he is really feeling up to the task and try to steal this, which I would not be directly opposed to, simply because what more do you realistically have to lose in a situation like this? But instead, he just tries to confirm his blue buff. Jarman won't even let him have that. Ends up stealing it away, just like they're about to steal away game number 1.
Oof, yeah, not a great look here for Elevate. But, you know, this is exciting because, again, as we were saying, if you're newer to the console scene, welcome. Elevate was one of the favorite teams. These players on this squad, these guys are known around the scene. They're really strong. And as a commentator, I don't root against anybody necessarily, but I root for the story. And seeing the new squad, you know, uLunar and MitchTeep kind of come together, Armada, and do what they're doing to Elevate is exciting. I like a world where any team can win any game, any day, and I think that's where we're getting.
I think that's practically where we're at when it comes to console Smite, at least for the Xbox side. I definitely think that Europe over there has really, in a way, caught up to rival, possibly having some of those threatening moments, even of surpassing them. I mean, it's only the first day, of course, and there's plenty more Xbox action that's going to come over the next few weeks, but I think this is a very promising start if we can expect this level of play from both Europe and North America.
Don't forget, you kind of alluded to it there, we're introducing the PS4 scene as well. 2 matches coming up following this, going to be really exciting. Some familiar names. I saw Covey over there, and I saw some other people kind of returning to professional Smite via the PS4.
Inbound, Secret, Evil, Twin Brother, Outbound.
Yeah, we got Outbound. I don't know what that's about. But also some fresh faces, and I want to see a combination of that and see who's got the best on the PS4. Zirxy going in, and Hamster going down. Nice initiation for the boys on Armada. They pick one off, retreat, and look to redo what they just got.
Here's the problem, though. Panda mid is actually starting to put up some numbers as far as the damage is concerned. I mean, he got MitchTeep down to half, but who's left to follow that up on? Mr. White, DoctorL, they're both just a little bit too far behind here to have the same sort of burst carry potential that you're looking for.
Nexamiss jumping forward. Honey's going to get ulted. There's the Thorns popped out from Nexamiss. Jarman on the back line. DoctorL trying from a distance to grab players, but uLunar grabbing one. Fatal goes to the back line, looking to do the same damn thing. Pushes players back, half HP on the Firebird. Make that 0. uLunar does go down, but the objective has been completed. And Jarman's deep, but it looks like the team has gotten what they asked for. Firebird, Phoenix gone for the mid lane.
Not to mention every single one of the relics from Elevate outside of DoctorL still has that blink, still has those beads. but he has no one to go on, because the second that he tries to commit, Armada, immediate turn and burn. And it's scary just how quickly your health will disappear against the Zeus.
The target selection from Armada has been fantastic. They've been able to really switch people and make sure they're attacking the right person. This is one of those moments where I'm watching them, Taco, and I need to know who's making the calls, because whoever is deserves a pat on the back. These calls have been really lights out, and this isn't one of those games. I think Armada just played really well, but the calls are certainly helping.
Based off how the team is choosing to engage, I would imagine that a lot of the shot calling is just being split between Zirxy and Jarman, considering that they're the two who are spending most of the time initiating as well as just harassing the backline. They've got to be the ones really communicating with the team overall to let them know, okay, taunt coming through onto IAmTheHamster, everybody get your abilities ready to go now. And you can just tell how fluid this feels between this team.
I actually really want to talk about itemization from Zirxy. Kind of classic for 1, 2, 3, but then the what is that? The
Mail of Renewal.
That I haven't seen that since MLC Stealth was playing, and woof, that was a couple of years ago. This is such an interesting item, but it's a great win more item.
I think that's exactly the key here, though, Tom, is the win more potential, because a Mail of Renewal, it gives you a decent amount of health, but getting bonus health prots or getting it just like bursted up pretty much off of the assist, that's the key thing that we're looking at, because as an Athena, everything that you're looking to play for is the assist factor. And so this is a very strong combination, I think, for Zirxy, and it just keeps elevates carries like Mr. White from really having that true shred potential against the Athena, because he doesn't have that chin size online yet. He's only got the Executioner. Sure, you can cut through some of the prots from Sovereignty and Mail, but you're not going to be able to break through all of that health with just the Exe.
And here's also the bonus that I like about it, is that when you're in this scenario where you're 10,000 gold up, Elevate's only plan of action here is to stretch the game and make it last forever, and going the win more items is how you stop that. You buy these items so that you can continue to push your lead forward and kill the opposition, choke them out before they're able to really reach that 6-item spot.
Armada don't even feel threatened enough to leave anyone else there other than Teep and Fatal Ghost to take down the Fire Giant. They just assume Elevator not crazy enough to try and venture into the jungle by now.
This is also one of the wonderful things about this composition, is that Zirxy can show up as well. Got the global ultimate we saw before. Fatal Ghost, although he was there local at the Fire Giant. He's got the global as well, able to turn a 5-on-4 into a 5-on-5 very quickly. Zirxy turns this one into a 5-on-4 very quickly as DoctorL sits down for the 6th time this contest. Left side, Armada push it in.
And it's going to be Nexamiss getting taunted forward this time around. Going to actually jump in with the Thorns, trying to make Fatal Ghost kill himself on those reflect damage. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to live it through this time around. Mr. White will survive, and thanks to that revive out of IAmTheHamster. Same can't be said for that left-hand Phoenix, though.
Not going to be the case. Mid lane Phoenix about to respawn. That's why we see Armada wrapping back around here. Going to take it down as soon as it comes up. And with all 3 birds down, it will be enough. Hamster dashing out of some of the damage, but likely to fall, or at least the Titan will. Finally being aggressed on here. Taco, I think this is it. Half HP already on the Titan. Here comes Fatal Ghost. That's going to continue it. Bang goes Zirxy, and bang goes game 1. 25 minutes in, Armada take down Elevate.
And in such a dominating fashion as well. But if you ask me, Tom, I think that this is just one of those games where it kind of got away from them the moment that the duo lane started to fall apart. Once you have to deal with that amount of pressure as a dodgy, you don't want that situation to happen. That is by far one of the worst outcomes that you could possibly imagine as one of the less mobile junglers, because DoctorL, he has to really commit one side of the map or the other prior to that level 5, and even after he hit 5, he was already so far behind uLunar because of all the invades, because of all the split experience that he was having to share with the rest of his team, specifically Panda mid there. So they all just kind of suffer in turn. Meanwhile, Armada's just laughing their way to the bank.
You want to talk about early, the small things that make a big impact. Level 2 was the Zeus, level 1 was the Agni, and Agni got cut down to maybe 10% HP, which meant he had to share the wave with his jungler, which meant they couldn't deal with the pressure on the dual lane, which means they couldn't deal with the invade, and it all just trickled down from there.
It's really unfortunate to see also, because you know that these guys are capable of understanding where the problem is actually at. It's just another thing entirely to really try and resolve that issue. And in the case for Elevate here, Armada just had way too much of a stronghold over them to really let this one get out of control.
Yeah, most valuable player. I mean, you can pick pretty much whoever you want. For me, I mean, who are you looking at? Yeah.
It has to be Jarman for me, because he not only managed to really shove Nexamiss out of the lane, but it was the constant harassment and poke from Jarman that also kept DoctorL smothered so heavily.
Jarman did a great job into that solo lane. The Osiris pick, bringing the early pressure. Certainly a nice look there. Most valuable player could be him. Certainly was a beautiful game from the Osiris, like I said. Jungler kind of stepped up in uLunar, but really I was looking at Ryan Jarman and then Fatal Ghost as well.
Yes, Ghost had a killer game, but I think that Jarman at least did it alone a little bit more so, and I think that while Fatal Ghost had a great game, Zirxy still made him look pretty damn good.
I mean, Jarman, look, make no bones about it. Jarman was, what, 5 levels above any other player on the map for a portion of time. Look at this one. 12 versus 7. What are you going to do?
But this is my favorite part. Jarman was there for every single one of those speed buffs. DoctorL had no chance of making it into his jungle, making it to his speed. I'm not even sure he managed to get more than just that starting speed buff even.
Yeah, he might not have.
No, I think that they constantly just invaded him off cooldown. Really did not want to let him farm in the slightest, and for good reason, because we've seen what happens whenever DoctorL gets pretty farmed.
Sure, but you know what? Ryan Jarman stops the farming.
Apparently.
You like that one?
Apparently.
You like that one?
No. Okay.
Yes, you like that one.
Okay.
Ryan Jarman liked that one. Armada and their fans like that one. One in the books, best of 3, of course, so we will have a chance to see if Elevate can fight on back.